Welcome back to Viking Football with Coach Bruce Barnum as the Vikings prepare for the University of Idaho this Saturday. Vikings going on the road to Moscow, Idaho. It is a 2 p.m. kickoff. You can hear the game on 103.7 FM, The Legend. That's a changeover for this Saturday's game. Of course, you can also see the game on Pluto TV. Coach, let's talk a little bit about last week's game before we talk about Idaho. Really a pretty competitive game until the start of the second half. Montana State's running game kind of took over. They pulled away a little bit, and the Vikings came away with a loss. What were your impressions of what you saw on the field Saturday?
Impressed with their run game, obviously. You know, number 15 for them brings some things to the table that most people don't have. So they did a nice job getting him the football, you know, getting rid of your +1 in the box, and he's a tough runner. He was hard to bring down. So kudos to them. They did a nice job. I saw some nice things from our group, though. You know, we weren't that far away. Gave them a turnover. We lost turnover battle by 1. That spotted them 7 in that first quarter and got a little momentum change. But I liked how my guys hung in the football game. You know, yeah, there were some frustrations, you know, losing, you know, that last drive, but I like what we're building for. We're ready for Idaho.
And the Vikings, several scoring drives, and, you know, we've talked about this, and I'll bring it up again, but kind of the difference between kicking field goals and scoring touchdowns. Vikings, 3 long drives in the first half, but you ended up with field goals, and really if you change those over to touchdowns, it's kind of the difference in the game.
Baby steps, though, Mike. Last year we couldn't make a field goal, so, you know, actually extra points. We got everything covered there, and now we need to start turning those into touchdowns.
And actually, that's where I was going to lead to. You seem to have found a pretty good young kicker in Cody Williams. He's 4 for 4 this season kicking field goals. He made all 3 on Saturday. He's made all his extra points. He's one of the 4 guys in the Big Sky Conference to have a perfect slate. He started off pretty well.
He does. I'm proud of Cody for his youth, and you know, he needs to keep it going. Knock on wood, you know, he'll keep putting it through 100%. So fun to watch him. You know, I threw him out there for that long one, the longest one at the first drive. You know, that's everything that he's got going against him. Left hash, you know, distance, and he nailed it. I was proud to see that. So that's good to have that consistency back. But you're not going to win Big Sky football games scoring field goals or kicking field goals. You have to score touchdowns.
And worth noting also, a little wind in his face on that kick, and 44 yards, the longest field goal by a Viking kicker in a couple seasons. Okay, let's talk Idaho. Idaho playing its first home Big Sky Conference game since 1995. We talked about this. It was a storied program. They won several Big Sky championships back in the day. They've been gone from the Big Sky since the Vikings have been in the Big Sky. So it's the first meeting between Portland State and Idaho as Big Sky teams, and I'm sure it's a big deal for them. First home game in the conference.
Yep. Again, you mentioned a storied program, from the Jerry Kramers to the George Yarnos to the people that have gone through there. That's just a couple of the big ones. But Idaho owned the Big Sky many moons ago, so that's why they made the move up. You know, a Kibidome, no wind, flat. You know, it's fast. I'm sure they're glad to be at home. It's a tough place to play. They have a great coaching staff, Coach Petrino, and Vernon Smith's there, one that's been here, Sink. There's a lot of guys on that staff that know a lot of football. So it'll be a challenge to go win in Moscow.
In Idaho, their season very similar to Portland State's. The only difference is they've only played 1 FBS team. We played 2, but if you look at the scores, very similar, the record's similar. What's going to be the differences between these 2 teams and one of these teams coming out ahead on Saturday?
Turnovers will be the first one. Mike, the basic stuff. Turnovers are the biggest. You know, we've been better than the past now. We need to keep that up, but we need to get some turnovers. We gave 1 away last week. We had 4 the week before. But win the turnover battle, win the field position. Last week's field position, Montana State beat us in that category. You know, yeah, I'm proud of the group for marching those long drives. But it's a lot easier when you're a little closer to the 50. But turnovers, third downs, field position. That's what I would say.
And Idaho is a team that has had a little trouble with turnovers, particularly early in the year against Fresno State. They've given away several, and they have yet to force one. So that's something they're certainly going to keep their eye on. Moving along, you mentioned also the running back. They have a pretty good one back there, and he's basically, you know, Portland State runs 4 or 5 guys out there. Idaho has one that gets the big yards, and of course, Portland State had a little trouble defending the run game last week. What's the key there for the Vikings?
Get him before he starts rolling. You know, you got to hit that guy in the backfield before he starts getting charged up and get some momentum coming at you. They have other guys too. They're similar to us a little bit. They have a turbo. You know, they have a couple little skitter bugs. They got a couple tall receivers that can take the top end off it. So. Impressive. And on defense, number 3, they have a defensive end who he'll be right now. He's similar to the kid 37 at Oregon. He's very active. He's disrupting everything, and people are playing it against him. You see it. You know, people are chipping him. People are doing certain things to take him out of the pass rush game. So they got some talent. Like I said before, we need to go in there. It's going to be a challenge, but. We need to play a clean game and take care of the football.
And defensively, certainly they're probably looking for the big play. I said they have actually yet to force a turnover, and they've been scored upon. UC Davis beat them 44-21 last week, so they probably have a little chip on their shoulder in terms of establishing themselves.
They do, and watching the film, they play well at home. You know, just watching, again, an outsider looking in. Their home game, they look cleaner, they look faster than they did on their 2 road games. So that'll be something that we'll have to face. We're going to have to weather the storm a little bit, I think, when we first get there. Just because they're at home, they're comfortable, you know, and that matters. That matters in the Big Sky.
You already mentioned turnovers as being a big part of the game. What are the other keys for the Vikings this Saturday?
Turnovers is big, Mike. Penalty-free, everything. We're to the point now, heading into Game 4, where we know what we're going to do. You know, here's what we are in offense. Here's what we are in defense. Now we have to polish it. You know, we have to go in there and play a clean, fast game. If you do that and take care of the football, you'll have a chance, whoever you play in the Big Sky.
Okay, one thing I'm really interested to find out about this week. I'm on the bus. You got a couple movies loaded up for me?
We do. We haven't got that far yet in the prep. I've actually put Glenn Weirdy in charge of that, and he said he's been saving some up for these, you know, little longer trips, which is scary.
Some rom-coms, maybe?
I had no idea, but we'll report that next week. We'll let him know what we watched.
All right, we'll have some movie reviews next week. The Vikings playing this Saturday at the Kibbe Dome against the University of Idaho. The first time these teams have met in over 20 years. You can hear it on 103.7 FM, The Legend. You can also see it on Pluto TV. For all your information on Viking football, go to govikes.com.